Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our October Sip and Pitch Friday. My name is Carly Specht. I use she, her pronouns, and I am Associate Director of Affiliate Relations and External Affairs here at the NGLCC. This month's Sip and Pitch Friday is a special edition of Sip and Pitch dedicated to our fourth cohort of Own It program participants. The Own It program is a virtual entrepreneurial intensive designed for transgender, non-binary, and gender expansive, or TGX, new and aspiring business owners to bring their entrepreneurial plans to fruition. Own It is co-created and maintained by NGLCC New York, TD Bank, and Destination Tomorrow. And in the Own It program, we cover topics such as developing a business plan, assessing your market, and more. And the program culminates with this business pitch event. So our presenters today are in various stages of business development. Some are prospective business owners pitching their ideas, while others have established their business and are now focused on growth. And as one of the program administrators for Own It, I have thoroughly enjoyed working with this cohort, and I can't wait to hear their pitches today. So before we get into the rules and guidelines for today's program, I'm excited to introduce our three incredible judges here with us today. We'll be hearing from them for feedback and questions for each of our presenters. So we have Colleen from Pfizer, Paul from Kenvu, and Rebecca from US Cellular. And thank you all so much for being here. Now I'm going to go over some rules and guidelines for the presentations. So first, each company will have 5 minutes to pitch. I'll have a timer up on my screen that will count down during each presentation, and then I will unmute myself to remind you when you have 30 seconds left. And then next, we'll have just one presenter per business pitch. After that, judges will have about 10 minutes for feedback and Q&A. And some of our presenters will not have a PowerPoint presentation. No problem. This program is designed to be informal to provide real-time feedback for everyone's pitches. Also, a reminder to please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And a reminder that this is a judgment-free zone. This program is designed to help you enhance your pitch and grow your business. So, of course, all feedback is shared in the spirit of collaboration. And lastly, and most importantly, have fun. Feel free to grab your beverage of choice and enjoy this last Friday of the month. Okay, let's get started. So first up, we have Jenny from Second Star Solutions. So Jenny, if you have a presentation you're going to be using, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
And I'm going to cover my camera and start a timer when you are ready to go.
Okay, I'm ready whenever you are, assuming everyone can now see my slides on the screen.
Yes,
Yep,
we can.
we can
Great.
see it. Take it away.
Okay. The pace of technological change, generational divides and gaps in the workforce, hybrid work, Zoom meetings, new challenges and rapid pace of change demand that organizations adapt and transform to keep up with the market, with consumers, with their customers, as well as their competitors. How would you like to transform your workforce to serve as your strategic advantage? At Second Star Solutions, we are passionate about enabling your workforce to unlock their full potential in order to drive enhanced business and mission outcomes. I'm Jenny Minzik. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm the CEO and founder of Second Star Solutions. I have over 20 years of experience in defense and national security at the intersection of government, industry, and nonprofits. Throughout my life, I've demonstrated a consistent and strong passion for helping people, solving complex problems, asking hard questions, and leading transformation. As a multi-passionate learner grounded in the values of integrity, justice, equity, curiosity, collaboration, and connectivity, I provide unique and insightful perspectives to every challenge. I often see patterns and solutions that others do not. As a retired Air Force colonel, I bring a wealth of experience and expertise across the defense and space sector, including leading large teams, managing change, and developing and implementing both policy and strategy. I have proven experience, expertise, and the drive to enable organizations to better align their workforce, business goals, and strategy. I also like to have an emphasis on equity and inclusion as I'm doing this. Equity and inclusion are not nice to haves in the 21st century workplace. They are mission imperatives. When your workplace environment is inclusive, it allows your workforce to thrive, to show up and fully participate, and to unleash their abilities in harmony with business objectives. At Second Star Solutions, we offer bespoke consulting and coaching packages targeted at improving business and workforce performance outcomes. We're passionate about unlocking the full potential of your workforce, both through helping develop new leaders as well as creating inclusive environments in your workplaces. We deliver organizational transformation at the speed of need. Here's a list of some services that we provide at Second Star Solutions. General consulting to include strategy and organizational development consulting. We also offer facilitation of panels and workshops, as well as actual development of workshops and retreats with a focus on leadership. We offer leadership training, as well as leadership coaching, both one-on-one for individual team members, as well as leadership coaching for teams and organizations, as well as executive coaching. What sets Second Star Solutions apart from our competitors? Well, 21st century problems demand 21st century leaders with modern solutions. I'm a proud geriatric millennial. I believe I bring unique insight and perspective with where I sit within our generational divides that exist in our workplaces. My main competitors would be companies like Deloitte, McKinsey, SAIC, and they're going to offer a big price tag with far less personalized service. I also have very unique specialized insight into the defense and space markets as both somebody who worked for the government for 20 years, as well as somebody who also worked in the space industry doing business development. And overall, we provide people-focused, results-driven, end-to-end solutions. If you're interested in working with us, here's my contact information. Check out our website at www.secondstarsolution.com. Send me an email at jenny@secondstarsolution.com for a free 30-minute consultation to see how we can work together to transform your workplace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Great job.
Boop, boop.
Now let's hear from our judges. Colleen, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jenny. It was really great to sit through your pitch today, and I just took some notes here. So I think your opener was awesome because it was I thought it was truth, it was facts, so it really did have me lean in to want to know more about before I even knew what your company did because I came in blind today. I really did want to understand more, so I think that was really positive. I think, you had storytelling there. I think your gift of storytelling is obvious in your pitch, which is really nice. I think it was a really fluid presentation. When you're talking about, I think there's probably some clients that you'll be pitching to that'll be really interested in the space industry because I do understand that that is really cutting edge right now. So I think that's a huge differentiator for you right now. Personally, I do have a cousin, thank you for your service, who is also Air Force and is dabbling in space stuff right now, like way over my head. Let me just ask you, so do you does your company do would I ever think of you for contingent labor? Is that broadly, or it's really we're coming to you for those specific offerings?
So right now it's those specific offerings. I think so I'm really early on. I've established my LLC about a year ago, but I don't have any clients yet. Like I haven't actively started marketing and pitching myself.
Okay.
I think I have like a passion for, let's say, hiring, helping organizations find talent. So I could see potential for that like growth in the future. And
Yeah.
I am like fairly connected within the space industry, and like uniquely so because I'm at this like weird age where I hang out with both people in their like 30s as well as their like 50s. And coming from the military, I know a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I like to consider myself a connector, but in terms of like, I'm not going to ever really be in the position to offer like, yeah, I can get you like 10 people to do,
Right, right. Okay.
this thing.
Okay. And that wasn't stated anywhere. That was really just when I can't help but think about in my role how to think about you and my organization. So, having said that, that gives me clarity that I would think about probably my people experience group. Um, I think yeah, I loved your tagline. And it's escaping me right now. But when you said it, I thought it really was very thoughtful. And I love that you had some humor infused as well. So thank you very much. I think you're really, I mean, for somebody who, you said you're really just starting to pitch your business, you seem really comfortable, and I bet you're going to be very successful. I love, we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Colleen. Paul, do you want to go next? Oh, you're on mute.
Anything I say you wouldn't hear anyway, right? But thank you again for making that presentation. Uh, Starting as a new business, it's always important from a procurement perspective. Consulting agencies, there's tons out there, and so one of the things that, building off what Colleen's saying, is sometimes we try to put a lot of different capabilities on the slide because it sometimes makes you look bigger, more opportunities and capabilities. But what I encourage a lot, I mentored 4 different companies so far over the course of the last few years. What I recommend is focus on what you do best first, and then start to build, because you kind of hit it on the nail. You talked about almost like a niche boutique, right? You said, hey, I'm not going to be the biggie, but I'm going to be kind of that niche small player boutique. Focus on what you think you can do the best. And it's like you said, you don't have many clients. So sometimes as a new owner, you're throwing everything out there because you're just hoping to land something. Okay. The one thing in your beginning, which was very good, but I think you also have to talk about insights. Okay. So what are you trying to solve for? Okay. When you make a broad statement that said, your workforce and, we're going to optimize it, everyone says pretty much the same thing. But how do you kind of narrow it down to say, I started my business because these 3 insights, my expertise is actually going to drive the ability for you to optimize in these particular areas. That's what I found better, where, again, when you're a small player, it's hard to penetrate companies like Kenvue and Johnson Johnson and big companies like that. But that's sometimes where a procurement lead may say, oh, interesting. She's hitting in the area. Maybe the others are just surface shopping, right? They're not the experts particularly on there. So that'll be a couple areas that I think. And I think you did a great job in showcasing yourself, because I get it. You're trying to validate your expertise. So if that's what you're doing, absolutely the right thing to do. If you have any type of success stories in your previous jobs, that's what you should be also highlighting in that kind of a presentation. Here's things I was able to do when I was in the armed forces. I was able to convert. Here was the business situation. And I go back to what we call the STAR technique. What's the situation or task that you had at hand? What are the actions that you've taken? And what are the results? So make it very clear, because when we do interviews for everybody, we always encourage interviewees to take that same approach, because that's what you're doing, right? You're always pitching like an interview. So make it very simple for the audience to understand exactly what you've done, and do it very quickly. It doesn't have to be 2 minutes. It could be 30 seconds that you're able to do these case examples. But again, thank you very much for presenting. You did a very good job.
Can I ask a follow-on question?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
appreciate all your comments. I think one of the things I've been struggling with is getting that niche, right? And again, like, here's this laundry list of things that I know I can do, but what should I be focused on? So the thing that I've been kind of like toying with in my head, and I'd like to get your feedback is, I guess the continuing problem I see, whether it's in industry, government, nonprofit, it's like the lack of actual workforce development focused on creating your middle managers, and how essentially middle managers are the reason you're losing people, because when they're ineffective, people want to leave the workplace, right? And so I essentially been toying with the idea of kind of like branding my own like leadership training that's really focused on that middle management problem, right? Not only, and I want to get away from the word manager because I hate it, right? Like we need actual leaders, especially in the dynamic workplace that we have in the 21st century. Um, I haven't like pulled that thread enough to like really weave that into this pitch, but it's kind of where I've been feeling drawn to. And I mean, I have a lot of my own like legitimate experience that like, supports that viewpoint, but also like would enable me, I think, to bring something new to this kind of space. Because like you said, there's a million consulting companies out there, like, and I'm trying to figure out like what is my secret sauce.
I love how you position it because that's exactly what I was referring to is you're taking an insight. You know that middle managers are the cause of potentially retention issues with companies, people leaving. And if you, again, you can probably search the internet to say with studies, whether from Deloitte, your competition, they're out there, right? How do you take those insights and that becomes the selling story that you're trying to solve for this issue? And this is the program I have. What I also wanted to say, and you reminded me, is how do you brand that? Okay. Think of this as branding, sub-branding with your own company. Okay. Like right now, I have to remember, oh, again, what's the name of your company again? Right. Uh, and that's always critically important to kind of re-emphasize is because just like a commercial, it takes 9 times for someone to remember your name, your company. The same thing here is how do you brand it in a unique way? Now, you can use your name of your company as the branding perspective, but sometimes sub-branding becomes more effective. And then what you're doing is developing a program to sell to a potential client. Okay. And then you have to decide, am I looking for online type of approach, in-person type of approach? And as you know, in today's environment, let's face it, it's hybrid right now. A lot of people aren't in the office anymore. Do you have a way of having a niche in virtual type of training? Using Zoom and Teams. So think about how you would get that to the employees, well, not employees, but leaders within these companies. So you have to kind of think, how do I get to them, make it easy for the company to want to bring me in as going forward as a supplier. Did I answer your question?
Yes, it's all very helpful. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so
Rebecca and
much.
Colleen, if you have, questions or build on that, please do so.
I certainly will. So thank you very much. Again, I thought, like the other judges, I thought your presentation was great, and I loved hearing about your company. And I agree with the storytelling bit. I know that you're starting out, so you might not have those success stories of like when you've done this already for a company. So any kind of past history that would translate to that would be great, but also like for some of the things that you mentioned, like facilitating panels or workshops or something like that, like what would you envision that to look like for a company? And then maybe you can bring us along that sort of visionary journey with you. I loved what you said when you were talking about like you got really passionate when you were just now talking about like, middle management and your experience with that, and you're wanting to focus on that. I think that's a great idea. You start to get really passionate about that. And so I can connect with you on that too, because I think we've all been in that situation where we've, had a leader or something that's just like, oh, I wish this was better, right? And so that will give you a storytelling aspect to connect with your audience right away. Um, And I liked that a lot of the things that you said that were you're quite funny and you're like your geriatric millennial. I prefer your elder millennial. It's a bit more of a graceful term.
I thought it
But
was
no,
a
I
new
love
saying. I thought it was a new saying, so
it.
I didn't know if that was. I was like, I didn't hear that one before.
We
But
are
anyway,
of the millennial elders.
yes.
But no, I loved it. Your energy, and this part's going to be really hard to do because it's it's a presentation for people that you don't know and stuff. But watch your energy because what you're saying is really high energy, and how you're being is very like I've rehearsed this and I'm giving this to you, and I totally get that. I'm the exact same way. So I'm saying something to you that I know is very, very difficult to do. But I love what you're saying. Just try and match that energy with some of those things. And I think you'll, especially combined with the storytelling aspect, you're going to like just knock it out of the park with that. Um, and as far as speaking engagement goes, so my history is a little bit different. I'm not necessarily with supplier diversity, I'm with a resource group leader. And so a lot of us are looking for people who are willing to speak to resource groups about like what you do in your journey as a, as a business owner. And it might not be exactly the like the product that you're giving us, but if you're able to do speaking engagements for something like that, that can also help get you into the door for corporations that might not be ready for you yet, or might just want to kind of test working with you. And then when an opportunity does arise, how easy would it be to be like, oh, well, we already know Jenny. We've already done some things with Jenny. Like, let's talk to them first. So if that is something that you're interested in doing, I would certainly pitch that to any kind of supplier diversity folks that you meet, because they can also get you in touch, at least in that foot in the door aspect from ERG work as well. I hope that helps.
That's super helpful, Rebecca. And I am very interested. I would say like the things that I think I could like take on really quickly, or, basically helping to boost my presence in this space, are speaking engagements and like facilitation. And so I also did a one-person show this summer called How to Reinvent Yourself in 5 Not So Easy Ways. So yeah, I'm like, I almost threw in the slide at the end just to be like, by the way, if you think I'm entertaining at all, here's a show I did.
That's a
So,
success story and a way
yeah,
to connect. It's a storytelling thing, and that is ARG content that is gold. So I'm
it
gonna
is. I
already
will say
write
it's
that down.
gold for sure. And I'm thinking about trying to turn it into a book as another way to just get myself out there. So,
Yeah, and to build on that, if again, I wasn't sure if you were out in the armed forces or not, but how's your experience been, and how did you navigate, or the difficulties, and all that is important, especially you're talking to LGBTQ plus manufacturers. We look for guest speakers, especially for Pride and Spirit Day and all the different type of events. That could be a way, as Rebecca kind of alluded, in selling yourself and doing presentations, and that gets you awareness within that company, and say, hey, maybe she can do a little bit more, because the business partners are really the ones who drive sometimes a lot of procurement activity.
Yeah.
It's not always us, you know, it's like a dog wagging the tail. It's in this particular case, we're trying to wag the dog with it being the tail, but most of the times it's them really saying, here's my business need, or they already selected somebody in a lot of cases. And then we go, well, let's wait a little bit a while here. What about our input? So that's where I think Rebecca kind of, highlighted, find your passions. And this could be a passion, like you're saying, if you're going to be writing a book, how do I convert that into a business? Okay, just not selling a book, but how can I be a public speaker? That could be a way in showing other capabilities that you may have.
Yeah, you're pulling all the levers that you can, especially as a starting up business, to raise awareness.
Thank you all so much for your feedback. And thank you so much, Jenny, for presenting your pitch. So next up, we have Leah. And Leah, you can go ahead and take it away whenever you are ready.
Okay. Hey, everybody. So my name is Leah. Just a little bit about me. I'm definitely a gamer. I'm definitely the person that always wants to have fun, play video games. I'm the one that wants to draw. I'm the one that wants to watch cartoons. And I realized with that passion, I had a lot of friends that kind of wanted to hang out a lot. So it kind of gave me that idea of making a space for people to come together that didn't want to go to the club. So imagine when you're young and you're like, hey, I want to play Nintendo, I want to play, I want to play Sega, and I don't want to go to a club, I don't want to go to a party, but I just want to hang out with some friends. So basically, what I did was I made a business called Hidden Artistry, and it's a creative artistic space focused on hidden arts of gaming, anime, music, performing arts, and digital arts, giving the LGBTQ A plus a safe space, an urban outlet for them to express themselves, also learn from other professionals that can help them with this, with their form of art. We provide this safe space with a monthly membership or a guest pass, and also sign-ups for classes. This space has great opportunities because of the rare chance to have a comfortable place to be yourself without judgment. This space would not be like a lounge, but more like a relaxed artist corner. Thoughts of hanging out, sitting on the floor with your friends. This isn't a place that you have to get dressed up and have to be ready for, like going to a club or flashy. This is a place where you can be relaxed and who you are and be able to be your authentic self. This is a big difference compared to walking in a club or walking into a lounge, especially when you're greeted with kindness and not a, a perception of exchange of service. So our company basically provides this safe space for the gamer that doesn't want to play alone, for the new drag queen that wants to know how to do their makeup, for the artist that doesn't know the difference between which brush to use to make their art, for the singer or artist that wants some support in a recording studio. For all of these people, we are here. We deliver a safe space. We provide memberships. We also provide different types of merch for us to do fundraisers. We also do tournaments. We also, for our outreach, we partner with GameStop. We do activities with the Comic Cons. So, right now we don't really have any competitors because it's not like going to one of the barcades or going to like because there are a lot of barcades, there are a lot of different things like that, but it's very transactional. It's very I want you to pay me this, I want you to do that. But we want to go back a little and go back to, hey, you want to come over, play some video games, pop some popcorn? That's the environment that we want to give. We want to get that at home environment. And because of that, I realized that it's a very successful opportunity, and I'm looking for help to take it to the next level. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Leah. Great job. I will turn it over to the judges again. So, Paul, do you want to start us off this time?
Sure. And Leah, I think there was some points where it was breaking up. And so forgive me if I wasn't following 100%. I have probably more questions than direction. So the question I had was, is this a actual place that people go to, or is it virtual? Help me understand that piece of
So
the
you
pot.
walk in. Right. So you walk in, we say, welcome to Hidden Artistry. We give you, depending on what you want to do, let's say you're like, hey, I want to come. I know there's a Tekken tournament. There's a fight night tonight. I want to be a part of the game. So there's 7, 8 different TV screens. Everybody's sitting down, eating popcorn, having pizza. But it's more so a place where you can have those common perspectives with other people and just be able to relax instead of going to the club, instead of going out to the raves. Because a lot of people don't want to do that. They just want to be near each other. They want to play video games.
Okay, so this is definitely in person.
Mhm.
Uh, Now, is it happening right now? So are you actually doing this work right
So
now? How long
yeah,
have you
I've
been
been
doing it?
doing it for 8 years, but the issue is like um the last year I got too big and I wasn't comfortable with the growth being so large and not being protected. And the landlord that I had kind of he sold the building to someone else, and the person doesn't want to give me the proper paperwork anymore. So now it's kind of like, okay, well, now I need to move out. I need to find a new place. I need to, because it's like before it was private, but the last event we had was 300 people.
Oh,
So it's kind of like it's time to go. It's time to try to find a bigger building, um, develop some a plan where more organization, where different floors, different opportunities. So I took a step back and I got in this program because I definitely don't want to fail and I don't want to put myself in a situation where I hurt myself because I didn't know.
So are you looking then for investors, funding, expertise in business planning? Help us understand
Yeah, so
what you
I'm
need.
looking for more. So, yeah, I'm more so like the. So I would say honestly, just to be honest, I'm more so the artist, right? And I know how to do the job, but I don't know everything else. I don't know how to do the paperwork. I don't know what do I need to what zoning I need. What I don't know all that stuff, but I can get the people. I can get the numbers. I can sell the brand, but I want to be more protected.
Okay, so you've created yourself your own network of folks. So you said 300 people attended your event. How can you reach out back to them? Because if they see the value, remember, they're your, I won't call loyal customers yet, but let's face it, you got them there. The question is, they want to see this happening more and more. How do you reach out to them as a group to say, hey, here's my business situation. I want to continue to grow. I bet you're going to have experts in finance, in business planning, in banking, in, real estate, commercial real estate in your case. They may be able to volunteer and do it for free because they see the passion. Because, when I started my businesses, again, I'm in a big corporation, obviously now, but I own my own hair salon. I own my own entertainment company. I own my own disc jockey company. It's also about networking with people who are passionate about the same things. And it's almost like a fan club. Think of Lady Gaga with her fan club. They love her because they want to hear her music and they love what she does. The same thing goes for here. You're going to have a lot of passionate people that love what you're doing. You're providing them an outlet. Think about how you can ask them. Send a note to all these group members and saying, this is what I'm trying to do. This is where I'm struggling. I'm looking for help in these particular areas. Anyone willing to come on board? And if you don't have the money, obviously, to pay them, you could think about partnerships, giving them a small stake in the company as you grow. Because a lot of people do sometimes want to work on their own. They just never have that opportunity.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Paul. Rebecca, let's go to you.
Yeah, thanks again. I already love this whole idea. I think it's fantastic. I think safe spaces for our community is hard to come by depending on, where you are in the US. And I would love to have a place like that here. You mentioned a couple of different things, not necessarily just gaming, but also drag queens who might want to learn how to do their makeup, on artists who just need support in general. So do you have like different I guess themed like nights, like this night is going to be like a gaming night, this night is going to be like a drag queen night, or are there like everybody's there and it's just like different sections of people doing different things?
So the place is 20,000 square feet.
Ooh.
I have 6 separate studios with 6 different types of things in each studio. So I have like a hair area, hair, makeup in that one studio. Then I have a recording studio. I have a production digital studio. Then I have like a green screen podcast area, and then I have an open gaming area, and then I have a VIP gaming area. So it's like, when you pay for your membership, you're like, okay, I want a membership for this month, but what I want to do is I just want to play video games and I want to come every day and play video games. Okay, you pay your membership, you come in. Let's say I say, hey, you know what? I want to be a part of the art, the makeup, and the hair, and I want to do that with the. I know you had this drag queen coming on this day on the calendar. I love her makeup when I see her do her shows, so she's coming. So I want to sign up. So I want to pay for that membership, and that would probably be a little bit more. But then they'll be able to come every week to each drag queen's personal makeup session. So.
Excellent. I love that. So when you're talking about the company, like let's again, like storytelling, let's tell some of these stories about what that would look like. And you've been doing this for a while. What are some of those really special moments that kind of stick out to you that get you excited about like why you're doing this. If you can talk about those, then we'll all of a sudden be in there with you and want to contribute to making this like grow with you. And yeah, to Paul's point, you don't necessarily need to have to know all of the business aspects yourself. If you want to focus, you're the artist and you want to focus on the art, that's fantastic. Find the people that are passionate about doing the other sides of things so that you can do exactly what you are very good and very passionate about doing, and that will become stronger. What I would suggest when you find the people that can help you with some of those data points is the data itself. Like I loved learning that your last event was 300 people. Any kind of numbers, any kind of data that you can give us would be fantastic. And then also, how would, like, if you're going to start asking for investing, the next question is going to be, okay, if we invest in you, how would we then grow from there? What happens if we get larger than your 20,000 capacity? What's your pie in the sky if you had like all of the resources and all of the things that you need to, where would you see that going so that we can kind of go on that long-term journey with you as well? So that's my advice. I think that this is a really, really fantastic, idea. And I kind of wish I could go and play some games and watch some anime. I don't know anybody that watches anime with me. So this is fantastic.
My goal is to open one across the states so they can like compete with each other. And then we can have like national tournaments and then, connect with it, and if we got that big, then we could like do partnerships with Disney, partnerships with GameStop, big partnerships with the Comic Cons, so yeah, that's
oh yeah, and that did remind me, you did mention that you partner with Comic Con and GameStop for some things in the community. Talk more about when you're pitching this, talk more about that, because those are names that a lot of folks know, and that will also be like, oh, okay, you've already done work with some pretty established companies and organizations. Like, what have you done with them, and how has that relationship worked out? Because I think that will also go a long way into saying, hey, we've done this before with these other groups, and this is how that has happened. So
yeah, because we do like, they like give us like, the GameStop has things that they penny out, or they'll like have systems that aren't used and that they're getting rid of, and they'll donate them so we can like raffle them away and like stuff like that, and then we do a Christmas party every year, and like all the members come and give out like we put all these gifts under the tree, and we have a Santa box, and
that's an excellent story to include for this. That's great.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Pauline, you want to wrap it up?
Sure. So, Leah, where did you say where you were located? Your
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. And I think, having gone third, a lot of my questions, were organically answered in the conversation. I think, building on what Rebecca said, because when you were talking about safe space, it wasn't clear to me if it was physical or if we were talking about a platform to bring people together. So, maybe you could, but I think Rebecca was saying like visualize, but maybe that's sort of how you do that reach out. It's a Friday night and you're sitting at home like thinking about what to do, and then you can like pull that thread how somebody could end up at one of your events. And are you open, is it like event specific, or when you say like somebody has a subscription, is it open 7 days a week, or is it for
right? So, yeah, we were open 7 days a week, and basically and that's why it was so overwhelming, because it was an operation where people were like, okay, today's movie night. We got to go to movie night because this just came out. And then, in Japan, anime comes out the night before. So it's not going to be on a big screen. So we will put it on a 100-inch screen and put it all over everything, and, and have fresh popcorn, fresh kettle corn, funnel cake. We would have costume contests. So it makes me feel good when I think about everything. It's just I want to protect it, And
yeah, definitely. And when you first described it, I actually was thinking of something much more intimate, just the way that you were talking about it. And then when you said 300 people, like it totally changed my thought about, what you were offering on such a grander scale. And then when you were talking about some of your partnerships. So I think maybe there's an opportunity to tighten up your story at the beginning, when you're first pitching. So there is more of a clear understanding about, what this is and what people can expect to, to come to. And I had a thought, when you were describing some of your offerings with, the different areas. Do you ever have like, a professional offering to it? Like to say you have a hair salon, is there any sort of like offerings around people interested in that, developing skill sets in that field, like becoming,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's like when the drag queens may come, they'll offer that class to whoever's there, the free class, and we'll put
Yeah.
them on a calendar. Or we have some barbers that want to give free haircuts, and then we like have like a community wash if someone needs to wash clothes. So we do have like those professional like areas that people can sign up for, and we have the space where people can sign up to give classes for free. Like we have a wood shop downstairs.
Yeah. Oh, so that's a
Like
great, that's also too, to like highlight that it's a way for others in the community to really be showcasing perhaps their own businesses, like you said, makeup artistry or wood shopping. So it's an opportunity to make those professional connections as well as a social environment. Um, I think, yeah, those were some of my comments. Like I said, I think it got built on as I listened. But maybe I would just say maybe if you could just tighten up, in the beginning when you're first talking to somebody that's not familiar with you at all about what your offering is, because they can internalize it like, all right, I can see the value for me signing up for one of the different types of memberships.
And just one last comment to build off of Colleen's. Some people don't like to do presentations. You're passionate about it. The question is, even putting slides up to show pictures of these events, of the people having fun. That's part of getting the emotional part of someone to get passionate as much as you are. I think, Rebecca, you alluded to what's the size of the prize. So for example, you think about Shark Tank. You're going in and asking for some amount of money. You should know I need $100,000 investment in order for me to do this particular activity. And I may say, well, what are you going to use the $100,000 for? You should know exactly what you're going to use that $100,000 for. Then you also should be telling me how much revenue I've done over the 8-year period, because you want the Shark Tank person and the investor to be excited about, oh, what's this opportunity? Because anyone can say, I'm going to grow this business to $100 million. And in reality, well, what have you done so far? And they go, well, I just started. Well, that's pie in the sky. So
yeah.
since you have history, again, it may not be a ton of money that you're generating, but they're going to always ask you, how much money are you making out of that investment? Okay, because remember, they want you to make profit. And if you're not making profit, then they're going, well, wait a minute, if you can't make profit after 8 years. So overcome the selling obstacles with your investors up front. That's why having a business plan saying, this is what I need year 1 through 3, this is how I want to grow, I need to hire more people. Those are the things that you should be writing down and saying, what are the things or these elements for me to really make a successful business pitch for them to invest in you?
Do you think I should go with the investor point of view? Because like, see, I'm so new to this. Like, like I'm doing it, but I'm kind of like naive, kind of. For example, like their lease that I have is $4,200. So
Okay.
it's like it's covered. The business covers it completely. So I'm not looking at the profit on my end, even though that is profit. So it's just
Right.
like I'm not good with that kind of stuff.
So that's where, again, I'm not sure if your network and again, we're willing to help, and we can have people in our organizations that are built for financial to help you. It's also us understanding, I think, Colin, you mentioned it about membership fees, how much you charge them. You may be charging them too little. We just don't know the frequency, or you're offering too much to them, opening 7 days a week, for the money that you're charging them. So I think you're right. You probably need some financial advisor to say, what am I doing? How much am I spending? And guess what? I'm only making 5,000 a year doing this because, my partner, for example, is the breadwinner. Those are important things to kind of understand. So this way you can build yourself up to be successful long term in this business.
I really
And I would
appreciate that.
say in your group of friends and colleagues that you have networked with, find yourself a mentor. Find if there is a business leader that you admire. Maybe you know them already personally, maybe you don't, and it's you're introducing yourself to them, but find a business leader that you admire and see if they're willing to mentor you and give you some advice on a more regular basis of like things that you should look out for. It's good for them to do mentoring, and it's great for you to learn some of those things that you're as you said, you're very new, you're very green, you're just like a sponge soaking up all of the information. So find somebody who likes to teach, and that might also go a really long way.
I
And
deeply
Leah,
appreciate it.
one more thought is, how do people know about your events? Is it an email list? Do people come to a website?
Yeah, so we do Facebook, and we have like several different groups, and then we have like tournaments. So basically like streamers talk on one site or Discord, or they'll do like, but there's ways where people go and check constantly because they want to like, hey, I want a PlayStation 5 Pro. They're having a tournament. I gotta go to 10 tournaments to get eligible for that last tournament for the PlayStation 5. So they'll pay 10 times just to get to that goal, just to get to that day for that prize.
So just, hearing, because of that alone, to do, the PR for something like this is probably a 24/7 job, because it is so, connected, to what's going on at the moment. So perhaps there is a way not only to stay in front of it, like to make sure you're connecting the interested people, customers to the right event, but also to do like the post, I think Paul said maybe to show, some pictures of, this is what happened. And perhaps it is on your website or your email, because I think somebody who hasn't come and maybe thinking about it, whatever sort of PR you're putting out there, that would probably, pull
Yeah,
in
we did
new
Instagram.
customers.
We've been
Yeah.
doing Instagram, and that's been kind of working well. So they can just go and see other people liking it and seeing other people comment.
Yep.
So we've been using that for an advantage.
All
But thank you so much for everything. I definitely took my notes.
Oh,
Okay.
it's super unique offering.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, judges, and thank you so much, Leah. That was great. Last but not least, we have Velo. Velo, you can go ahead and take it away whenever you're ready, and I will start my timer.
Okay, hey everyone, my name is Velo, and I am here to present on Woolry and sustainable building insulation. So Woolry is kind of like the Patagonia of insulation, focusing on sustainable materials to create quality insulation. And right now, most insulations are fiberglass or foams. And if you're not familiar with fiberglass, it creates these small cuts that irritate the skin, lungs, and eyes. And my friend was recently redoing a little thing in the backyard and had it happen. I was like, that's what I was talking about in this pitch about insulation. So our insulation is made from sheep wool, which is biodegradable. It absorbs moisture without compromising performance. It's flame resistant. It can trap harmful chemicals. And it's made in America by a family-owned mill that has been operating for about 100 years. And the insulation market right now is about 29.5 billion for 2024 and expected to reach 32 billion by 2029. Yet 90% of homes in the United States are under insulated. And if you go on SEMrush and search for sheep wool insulation, there are about 8,640 searches each year. So people are looking for sheep wool insulation. As far as competitors, there's Havelock Wool, which nets about 3 million in revenue, but there's significant lead time in getting the insulation, and it is priced a little bit more expensive at around $3 per square foot. There's Owens Coring, which makes 3.2 billion, but again, they focus on mineral wool, and so we're really trying to hone in on sustainable materials to create buildings that are not going to have, these respiratory irritants in your lungs if there's damage or other events that happen at your home. And to build this company out, I think leveraging partnerships with construction companies, especially through the NGLCC, will be a top strategy, and focusing on high-profile pilot projects to build credibility and targeting states like New York, where you can get $4,200 in Energy Star program credits off the cost of your installation. The pricing strategy will be to go a little bit under the current installations and matching the cheaper installation, so $1.50 per square foot, which is on par with fiberglass and foam, and significantly lower than the $3 for Havelock wool. And for 2025, if we can get 30 homes and 10 offices, that would net 140,000 in revenue. As far as our, not me blanking on the words. Milestones? Yeah, milestones. We had an EPA partnership agreement, which would allow us to go into the Energy Star program, got second place in the Biz Pitch program in Palm Springs, and we have a potential partnership to remodel offices for NiSource, but they want us to have the certification, so I'm really seeking a seed round of $25,000 to cover the ICC lab testing. And as far as my personal background, I experienced homelessness a lot throughout my youth and kind of became passionate about housing. And I studied sustainability and entrepreneurship in corporate law at Harvard Law School to build a foundation. And I'm really excited to, build this company and see where it can go. And I would love any feedback on, like strategy or funding. And I will cut the time here.
Thank you so much, Velo. Great job. And it was great to hear you pitch again. As Velo said, they pitched in the TGX Biz pitch at conference, so it's really great to have you back. All right, we will go to our judges for some feedback. Rebecca, do you want to start us off this time?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is a really clever idea, and I'm really excited to hear more. I would say that I love all of the data points that you brought. I think data is always so needed in any kind of pitch. When we don't have slides or something to reference, I had to write them out really quickly. Don't let your audience forget that. So if there's anything that whether it's a handout or just a quick slide that says, hey, this is the data, and show the graphs, I think those visuals will help hit those numbers and sink those into memory to kind of solidify that. So yeah, I really love at the end you had your like, here's why I'm passionate about this, here's why I'm doing that. I would like to see that first. Like hook me in with like, you know what, here's a little bit about me, and here's the thing that I am passionate about. And now I've moved that passion into this really great business that you should totally invest in. And bring me along that journey with you so that I can be invested in you as well as your idea. And I think that will flow a little bit, better sort of all around. One question I do have for you, because I haven't never heard of, like, did you say it was sheep's wool for
Yeah, sheep wool.
I have never heard of this. But I don't know a whole lot about like installation, but like, or insulation, but like if it's biodegradable, like how does that stay? Like, will it go away after so long?
Yeah, so it lasts about 100 years. And so yeah, like I I guess it's like hard to strike the balance between something that never goes away and then
Yeah, but I
but
think that's a really good. I think people might be distracted by like that sounds like it's a really good idea, but like
okay, so put in
biodegradable just sounds like okay, that's
oh
not.
it's go okay,
I'm
yeah.
gonna have to do this again in like however long. But 100 years, you've already like I have no fear with that. I'm like okay, I can worry about it in 100 years. So I would definitely throw that in just to kind of allay that so they're not thinking about that question instead of like your presentation. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I liked how you also said you knew exactly what you wanted to use the money for. So I'm looking at my notes for your lab testing and the challenges. Again, I think you brought all of the information to the table here today, and it's I love it. I think it's great. Pair that up with some slides and start it with your storytelling, and I think it'll just be a winner across the board.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Colleen, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Vila, thank you for your time today. I think one of my colleagues who was at conference shared, having seen pitch before, or it's because I remember here myself also. I've never really thought about this type of installation, so it really like stuck with me. And I agree with Rebecca because I did love, really when somebody who talks to a lot of businesses or suppliers, I always love, to hear their story, whether it's, how they ended up naming their company or how that came to be. So I would definitely use that in the upfront as well, because it sort of sets the stage and, people may sit up a little bit straighter. So I heard you say that you, potentially next year could be working, if you, or you knew the numbers, if you get 30 homes, maybe 10 offices or something like that. So when you say office, I work in the New York area, could it be, new construction in Hudson Yards, like a 50 floor, 50-story, skyscraper?
Yeah, definitely. And then yeah, the key is just getting the building code certifications. And so once you have that, you can do residential and commercial. Um,
Awesome. So that's what I think, you mentioned it as well, partnering with CM firms first. If I think, if that's one of your targets, because especially in New York, we do have some nice metrics and goals in contracts that need to be met. So a supplier like yourself would probably have a nice audience with a lot of the large firms that do work in that area. And so how do you source? So, where is, you said it's in the US, and would you, I know nothing about this. So is it, growing? I don't know. How would you keep up with demand if you're,
Yeah, so there's this farm network that's really focused on like sustainability and the like well-being of sheep, and so they have a large supply of wool for like meat farming, and then the mill that does the milling has like local connections to the different farmers, so they're kind of like the two links to source the wool.
All right. Well, it sounds like, it was very clear that you, as Rebecca said, you know your numbers pretty well. So I'd imagine you could say yay or nay to an opportunity. But that's probably two different, paths of new business development, right? Residential versus commercial. But it sounds like you would know what it takes to do both. But maybe there could be a little extra, maybe talking about those two segments,
Oh,
differently
okay.
instead of lumping them together might make it more clear for, or whoever your audience is, you would probably tailor your presentation to that. Um, I think, yeah, that might have been, those are my top line notes. Maybe I'll hand it over to Paul.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
awesome. Yeah. So like the
Bailey, you did a
applications.
great job. So I understood. I'm actually a big home building nerd. So my partner is a contractor, and we just bought another home and remodeled it completely. And so I get the building. So my questions to you tend to be, the biodegradable can be a potential issue for some people because even if it's 100 years from now and some of us would be dead before it degraded, the question is, does your competition like fiberglass, does that ever degrade? And the answer may be no. And so your strong selling point is obviously for homeowners that may have asthma and other chronic breathing issues. This can be that resolved, and you kind of overcome that obstacle. So a lot of times folks try to go big, and where I'm going to tell you to do is go small. Okay. And what I mean by that is how can you align to a regional builder of homes and use that as a means for them to be able to sell their houses and beat out the big ones like Horton and Toll Brothers and, all these other big Hovanian. And again, I'm not sure, you're based out of New York State. Where are you based?
So I'm currently in the Netherlands, was recently in New York. There's like a lot of moving
Okay.
around. Yeah.
So is your business going to be more European then based, the Netherlands?
No, yeah, just here to kind of like save on
Okay.
costs. So New York, I think, would be the best because they have more rebates and things.
Okay.
Um,
And it sounds like that you need some certifications. Obviously, like you said, I don't have the money for these certifications. If so again, you may have to do a little bit of homework in understanding all the home builders across the country. And where I'm saying is target maybe your smaller to more regionalized ones, not national, to use that as a competitive advantage in selling their homes. Because what's in it for them? You're not going to be knocking on everyone's door, homeowners, and say, I'm going to come in here and do that type of work. Now, if your goal is just to sell the product to them, you're not installing it, but it's just, I assume that it's just the same type. Is it blown in? So it's a blown in type of technology. Have you worked with any local companies that do blown in insulation today and start to work with them? Because that's also going to be a key selling point for you, is to say that, you know, if you're expecting the builder to subcontract it, how do you make it easier for that builder to want to do it? Okay. And so start thinking about certain areas, start small, like I said. You look at a region in New York State. I lived in New York, Philadelphia, Delaware areas, so I'm used to the East Coast. I lived in Providence, Rhode Island too. So the question is, where should I be focusing my efforts, and then find a local blow-in installation, sell them on the opportunity too, because you may get that business to invest in you, to say, hey, here's a big opportunity for you to form a new business model. Instead of just blowing in normal insulation, you could do this and use the same machinery to do it. That's going to be a big win. So think about the subcontractors needed to really use your products. Uh, and they may even say, I have a contract with Hovanian or some other builder currently. That could be your in selling it more nationally based on there.
awesome. Okay, I love that.
Okay.
I would say in the vein of small, like thinking, working small first and then growing. If you are wanting to also do commercial as well, think of the smaller commercial, and I would suggest probably tech industries. Because they're constantly looking at lowering their footprint, right? Just for the nature of what they do. So if you're looking to break into or do commercial alongside of residential and still wanting to keep it small, maybe consider the kind of industry that you're wanting to break into with commercials, because things like data centers, things like switches and cell sites and things like that need the insulation anyway are huge energy consuming companies, regardless of how large their company is, right? And I think that would be a boon for them to say also we're also environmentally conscious because we're even our building is, and so that's a good niche to kind of get into as well, while keeping it small but wanting to grow into a commercial space.
Awesome. Okay, perfect.
And I didn't talk about costing. The good news, I was very happy that you say it's lower than the standard, because that's always an easier win with any company, that because builders are obviously trying to make money and cut corners. So from a costing perspective, you should know how many cubic feet that at a minimum that you need in order to break even. Okay. And so if your organization's more about, hey, it's just me, I'm just the shell, but I'm using other resources to generate. It's almost like Uber, right? And type of thing is, I'm using other people to actually fund. It's basically self-funded. If you're taking that approach, which is great because that's probably the smartest thing because you don't need money, you also have to think about what are the price hurdles that the more that you use it, the less expensive. And I did like the one comment that you made about supply chain. Let's face it, COVID demonstrated how critical supply chain was for building homes, right? I bought my home during COVID. I was lucky. I beat COVID, but others had to make a decision. Do I want that window over top of the garage, or and wait for it maybe 6 months, or do I want my house now? So a lot of people in my development they don't have that window over the garage because of supply chain. So you have to definitely build confidence. Also, is if something happens critically, whether it's a hurricane or tornado or whatever, how do you guarantee that supply chain to the builder? Because that's the builder's going to be they care about cost, they care about the quality, but they also care about supply chain. So, how do you protect yourself or protect them to make them feel comfortable that if you're sourcing for one supplier and that supplier make believe is in Florida, and we know Florida with all the hurricanes happening, not probably a good deal. So think about sourcing in maybe two or three, if that's a possibility, in different areas of the country to make sure if a natural disaster happens or a pandemic happens again, how do I ensure that I have alternative sourcing to be able to supply to the builders?
Awesome. It's so helpful. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah.
One question for you, Vila, is this type of insulation trending? Are we, obviously we know that especially corporations, the sustainability reporting and impact is super important now. Everybody's putting out their impact reports. But just in general, residential, is this a new tech? Is this a new innovation in the insulation market? So do you see this becoming a bigger market? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think definitely I'm also like, are these questions or do I answer the question?
Oh, I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're actually
Okay,
asking
okay, yeah.
so we can
So
learn
yeah,
more.
like hemp and sheep wool are like the two new kind of main contenders for insulation. But if you backtrack, like before asbestos kind of launched and made it everywhere, it was like a lot of sheep wool and like newspapers or different things. And then like asbestos came, and then was like fiberglass and spray foam, and now we're kind of looking at other materials. So there's like a company in Austria and in the UK that have sheep wool, and then there's Havelock wool here. And I think a lot of people are insulating vans and things with sheep wool, and it's kind of like the van life trends and things have been using sheep wool.
Yeah. So you said sheep wool has been used many years ago, and why did they move toward, I'll say, fiberglass, for example? Help us understand that, because we're trying to actually poke holes. We're being devil advocates here because we're trying to understand it, but trying to overcome obstacles that you will have in selling your product. That's what we're trying to do right
Okay.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, because that's what I was thinking. That might be another data point you might want to say, like, because of this, we're expecting the demand to increase.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
Paul.
Yeah. So if you can kind of help us understand the history of the product, but why did people shift from sheep wool to other
Yeah, I
ingredients?
think it was like a lot of industrialization, and so it was like cheaper, and then all of a sudden way easier to have like all of the asbestos and things going, and then we got the data later that those were not as good, and then there it's easier to mine like the silt and make the fiberglass, but now we're like, oh wait, that the impacts of mining and all the energy usage is has like these kind of negative consequences. And so I don't know for now if major players are thinking, oh, we should switch, but I think with a lot of other industries focusing on sustainability, that if more people knew that there were different options, um, they could shift, and I'll have to think more on yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to throw a couple negatives at you. If I said it's wool, I'll go, well, I'm allergic to wool. I can't have wool rugs in my house because I'm allergic. You need to make sure that you're overcoming And again, your wool may be totally different from the wool that we're used to, because everyone, again, as a buyer of a home, it's generic, right? You hear wool and you go allergic. Do you have a selling point or data that says no, the wool doesn't affect the homeowners, is maybe it's hypoallergenic because of the way you process it? Help us understand that, because that's going to be a very key, because the builder or anybody else is going to ask these questions of you, and you have to overcome these objections from a selling perspective.
Yeah, okay. I have to look up the data later on
Okay.
sheep wool allergies, but I would say if you're allergic to sheep wool, you will also be allergic to the fiberglass. And so exposure to that is not good, but I'll think of a more
But think
professional.
about that,
Yeah.
because there's going to be, remember, if I'm a builder and you're coming in, I'm going to probably pick your brain even 10 more questions. And also saying where you're sourcing it from. Remember, you're saying, well, Austria and UK and all that. If you're trying to build homes here or try to sell your product here in the United States, you also have to think, where am I sourcing from? I love the story that you said about, family, ownership and all that. That pulls at the emotional strings. I think, as Rebecca was alluding to, is, how do you tie that emotion? You got me in. Now prove to me that this product is right for me, because I may get excited about it and start to say, this is interesting.
Okay.
Thank you all judges so much for your feedback. And thank you so much, Velo. That was great. I know we went well over 10 minutes of feedback for each presenter, but I love that. And I'm really never going to cut off good feedback when we have it. So I'm really glad that everyone got great feedback on their pitches. And now I just want to open it up for some closing thoughts. If anybody, judges or audience, has any closing thoughts, feel free to unmute yourself or put some thoughts in the chat before we wrap up.
I just want to say thanks everybody. I think we appreciate it. This is an awesome journey for me, and definitely got some understanding that I really needed, because definitely want to move forward with my goals.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Leah.
I think it takes a lot of courage to present to a whole group of strangers, even though it's a safe space. And so I loved all of y'all's presentations and the things that you came to the table with. And I wish you so much luck with just growing and your next steps for all of it. I'm very excited for all of you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for being here.
And for your new entrepreneurs, I started my first business when I was 13 years old. I was a freshman in high school, and I went to my first dance. And I have a twin brother, fraternal. I'm the better twin of the both, but anyway. And so, I went to the first dance, and I said to my brother, I think we can do this. And we both had $125 in our bank account. And we both went out and bought Panasonic Techniques turntables in the top 40. And I convinced my the school advisor, to let us do the first dance, and we did that. My brother literally just retired from disc jockeying, and he basically has been doing it. And I'm an older guy here, but he was doing it for 50 years, to show you that, you can take something very small and start to build in there. So don't be discouraged, where some people may say, oh, it's a bad idea, or you're never going to be successful. Sometimes it takes a lot of baby steps to build, especially build your confidence, because Leah, you kind of alluded, I'm passionate about the art. I may not be passionate about business. And that's why you need to surround yourself with people who are better for finance, better maybe PR. Again, work with the people, your membership, because they probably will want to help you to be successful. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Okay. You're joining this because you want for help. And the other two folks too is, don't be afraid to constantly ask for help. I know sometimes money comes easier when you're able to ask friends and family. That's your kind of your first course. And sometimes they're exhausted. And then the next question is, where do I get that? So you have to be creative sometimes in where you get the money to want to expand. Uh, when I own hair salons, I started just because my partner was, my first partner was in the hair salon business. And I knew nothing about that. But what I knew was business, and I knew PR, and I knew marketing. And that's how we were very successful in that business. And I also had a brother that was in the beauty distributor business, and he's been in that business for over 50 years and still is working to this day at the same company he started as a co-op in high school. So there are people out there that you can work with and try to sell them your dream, because a lot of people want to be part of that dream. So don't ever give up, because you can be successful no matter what.
Thank you so much, Paul. Anybody else have any closing thoughts?
I would just say I look forward to watching you guys grow, and I dropped my email in the chat if anyone would like to keep in touch. Thank you for sharing your stories today.
And
Thanks.
I will definitely do the same here. I'm always open for developing the NGLCC members.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much to all of our judges who were here today. That was some really, really great feedback that we had. And thank you to all of our presenters for pitching today. It takes guts to pitch even in an informal setting like this, and you all did a fantastic job. And it was great working with you over the course of the Own It program. We've got Barton on and Gunnar, both of whom, helped me run the Own It program over the past couple of months, and couldn't do it without you both. So it was really, really great working with you and working with the Own It cohort. And thank you all so much for joining us for Sip and Pitch Friday. We'll end just a little bit early today. We didn't quite have time for our typical community and conversation portion of this because of all the great feedback. But again, I'm never going to cut off good feedback. That's what we're here for. So thank you all so much for being here. If you know anyone who wants to pitch, if you know anyone who wants to be a judge, feel free to reach out. We're always looking for more people to get involved. And I hope everybody has a great Friday and a great weekend.
I know we made it.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.